16 pages. We will begin at the beginning, but then get ready to jump a little bit. Okay. This is a sikha from Shabbos Parshas Pinchas. Says it's not that quiz going to be this year, of the year Tafshin Nun Aleph, 1991. One of the novelties, uniqueness that speaks about in our parsha is Inyan Nachlas v'Chalukas Eretz Yisroel Chol Shevet L'Chol Yehudi, about the inheritance and the division of Eretz Yisroel to every Shevet, every one of the 12 Shvatim, and to every Yid. They know Safa Geulah Mitzvah Shlema, standing on the threshold of the true and complete redemption. Like it's understood from all the signs of the redemption, like the Rebbe in those years was speaking about many times, all the different signs of the redemption that was taking place then. Moving it's understood, first and foremost, first of all, there's just this simple directive about how the Yidden inherited and divided Eretz Yisroel, how it's going to impact the future redemption. Since we're still standing in a moment before the redemption, moving, it's understood. We also need to derive from it a present lesson, not just a lesson that's going to happen at one moment when the Geulah comes. But even right now, since the Torah is everlasting, it's an everlasting directive. Is for all times and all places, so therefore it must have a directive for all times and all places. Even just prior to the Geulah. We can say this according to the directive of Tzemach Tzedek, for a Yid that wanted to go to Eretz Yisroel, to study over there diligently, Torah, and to be immersed in the service of the Eibishter, Machdo Eretz Yisroel, and Seikan Eretz Yisroel. The Tzemach Tzedek discouraged them from moving to Eretz Yisroel. He said that here, in this place, where you are now, in Russia, and etc., transform it and make it into Eretz Yisroel. Yosh is a superman as far as my day, since this was related and made well known through my father-in-law to every Yid, moving it's understood, from this is a directive to everyone. Also, when we find ourselves now here in Chutz La'aretz, ubizman hagolus, in the time of exile, even the final moment of exile, just one moment, we're going to Eretz Yisroel. We have to live in the moment. That's going to be the point that the Rebbe is going to bring out of here. We need to have over here, in this particular place, Lasis Eretz Yisroel, to transform it and to make it Eretz Yisroel. We need explanation. What is the meaning of the avodah to make and transform and make this here Eretz Yisroel? The lechura seemingly alpidin harekan chutz la'aretz ein Eretz Yisroel. According to halacha, this place that we're in now, the place of Golus, is not Eretz Yisroel. V'adra, it's just the opposite. Shleimus avodah b'Torah mitzvah d'mnei Yisroel. The ultimate avoidant or mitzvahs of Yidden is specifically in Eretz Yisroel, like it's explained in many Midrash Chazal. Even while being here in a place and a time of Golus, Mispal, Yehudi, Yid davens, upon of Keneged Eretz Yisroel, and his faces Eretz Yisroel, Gimel Pon B'chol Yom Chayil. He said it 3 times in the week, they tefillas, in other words, Shachris, Mincha, Ma'ariv. Collect us all together from the 4 corners of the earth to our land. So we see that we're not in Eretz Yisroel. especially in the latter generations, and the latter times, behold, Mashiach is coming. What is, if so, the content of the lesson to make this place Eretz Yisroel? And especially since a moment after this, we are leaving Golos for Hilchim Eretz Yisroel Kipshuta, and we're going to Eretz Yisroel in the literal sense. So the Rebbe goes on a whole lengthy explanation having to do with this week's parsha, has to do with how the Eretz Yisroel was being divided by a miraculous Geulah, that the Geulah itself, the lottery itself, spoke and pronounced who's going to get the plot of land and the area in Eretz Yisroel that was assigned to them. And the Rebbe is going to explain that essentially it's important, even in the moment before going Eretz Yisroel, even in the preparation for Eretz Yisroel, that one should be completely involved in that as well. So we're skipping ahead. Look to the second column on the page. The page, let's see, page number 56. Second column on the one you have in front of you. Geulah, Pisgam, Kvaitushas, Admon Marashab Nishmasegin, as it's known, the saying of the Rebbe Rashab, fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe, the father of the Frierdiker Rebbe, Benimtzai, the Bnei Yechidim, Amal Makoimai, and was transmitted through his only son, the one who filled his shoes. The Pnimi, who is considered a Pnimi, means that he's taking things in and he's doing things real. Everything by him is real and internalized and so on. So kol davar shu oisa, anything that he does, areyu shakua bazeh legam, he's completely immersed in it. So the Rebbe relates a story that the Frierdiker Rebbe told over. I think he says it over the name of the Frierdiker Rebbe, but it's a story that happened with the Rebbe Rashab. One time during the Farbrengen, the Rebbe Rashab noticed that the Bachrim were singing a nigun very quickly, as a preparation. And a lot of times, by the Rebbe, there was a special nigun sung before the Maimer, and in general, the nigunim was a preparation for the next step and the next part, which was that the Rebbe would say Chassidus. So the way the Rebbe Rashab interpreted it is that they were so rushed with the nigun because they wanted to hear already the Chassidus that the Rebbe Rashab said, he was going to say. Top of the next page, and the Rebbe Rashab devoted an entire sikha to this topic about being in the moment. That the content is that in the avodah of a yid, he has to do everything completely and fully. Even when we speak about something that is a preparation for something else. So seemingly, if I'm doing something as a preparation for something else, so shouldn't my focus be the something else? I don't have to be involved and immersed in what I'm doing now. So he says, the Rebbe Rashab explained that that's not the case. When we still find ourselves in this situation and the state of the preparation state, one needs to be totally and completely immersed in it. And in general, this is a great principle. In the place that one finds himself, they have to be thoroughly there, totally there, honestly there. As long as I'm involved in it, this is where I'm supposed to be now. And afterwards, you'll come to the second point. That for that second thing, this was a preparation for. And they'll do that thing in a complete way. So the Rebbe then goes on to say, this is the reason why the Geulah would cry out and say, miraculously, the Geulah would pronounce about who got which lot and section in Eretz Yisroel. Because even though it was a preparatory thing, it was important in and of itself. And it had to be a special miracle, whatever the Rebbe goes into that sikha that that is talking about over here. And the Rebbe goes on the same thing with Dir B'Tachtonim. From that, the whole idea of Dir B'Tachtonim is to make the Dir in where we are now. And then he goes into Raira. I see you a few pages afterwards on page 59. Al Pizah, Yuvan Al Limud Mizah, Ba'avodas Adam, the Makim is Manzah. According to this, will be understood what we derive from this in the service of the person in this particular place and this particular time. Behesem Lairas Tzamach Tzedek Kanal Sefala, appropriate and corresponding to the teaching of Tzamach Tzedek that we learned previously. Concerning that Yid that wanted to go up to Eretz Yisroel and be involved in Torah of Avodah, Aseikan Eretz Yisroel, to make this place in Eretz Yisroel. Ain't Eretz Yisroel, though over here, Chutz La'aretz is not Eretz Yisroel, like we pointed out at the beginning of the Sikh. Avodah b'Chutz La'aretz b'Zman HaGolus Yachanol Shleimus Avodah b'Geulah Mitzvah Shleim Eretz Yisroel. And the avodah in Chutz La'aretz in the time of Golus is a preparation for the perfection of the avodah in the true and complete redemption in Eretz Yisroel. Fisha b'nei Yisroel mispalim b'chol yoyim, like Yidden daven daily. Aval kiven she is saying of the Golus b'Chutz La'aretz b'vade in a mikra nikris chas v'sholem. But since our being in Golus outside of Eretz Yisroel is not just by happenstance, it's not just that it occurred. But it's by divine providence. And it says Hashem only asks of Yidden what they are capable of doing. There is an intention and a goal in this particular place. In this particular place itself, Shekashur, that's connected with Ume'ain, and it's similar to the Klolus HaKavana V'in Eretz Yisroel, of the general idea of what Eretz Yisroel is about. That for its sake, the Avodah in Eretz Yisroel, the Avodah in Golus is a preparation. Therefore, Yid has to do its Avodah here, in this place, in this time, but Tachlis Hashleimus in his ultimate perfect manner, according to all of his capabilities and what his possibilities are in his particular state and situation. Machshava Dibra Maisa in his thought, speech, and deed. Kipnimi, like we mentioned before, a chassid was a pnimi. He's completely immersed in the avodah that he's involved in. He's not thinking at that time about a different avodah that will follow afterwards. What is the content of the person's avodah What's the content of the purpose of the avodah here? That's what it means to make Eretz Yisroel, to make this place Eretz Yisroel, to make a home for the Eibush below. Make this place in Eretz Yisroel. Lasis ma'amokim v'azman Oretz sheba nikar begoli yadus Yisroel. It transformed the place, and this time, a land that's recognizable Jewishness. Yisrael, that's what it means. Eretz Yisrael. Make this land, make this place, make this area a Jewish place. Since a Jew is a Yid, wherever he is. Therefore, he has the capability to transform and make the place in which he finds himself Dugmas Eretz Yisrael, similar to Eretz Yisrael. Befrat about Knesias, about Midrashes, Bechutz La'aretz Babel, Shasidim Shikov Eretz Yisrael, especially in the Shulen and Yeshivas outside of Eretz Yisrael, similar to how it was in Babel, that they will eventually be set and established in Eretz Yisrael. The Seder is even more so. Only through doing the avodah perfectly over here, the Malkim is Managol is in the place. And the time of Geulah is Shkuim Lagamri Ba'avodah Machshavah Dibur Ma'aser Shaloi. One is totally immersed in the avodah in his thought, speech, and deed. Areza Gufa Margil Adam. This itself accustoms the person who may be Oisei and brings him to that goal. That for that sake he's doing the avodah here. Avodah Eretz Yisrael Kipshuta, the avodah in Eretz Yisrael in the simple sense that he's literally going to arrive at the purpose, which is the Geulah Mitzvah Shlema and the true and complete redemption. Let's skip over to the last two lines. Especially since it's spoken about the preparation for the true and complete redemption. The idea of the complete redemption is like its name, emes v'shleimus b'chol ha'inyanim, truth and perfection in all matters, b'chol pratim mitzias adam v'olam, and all specifics of the person and the world. Meaning that it's not just a perfection of godliness. Everything in the world will run perfectly. The person will be physically perfect. The world will be physically perfect. Everything in the world will be perfect. Moving for this understood, Shleimus HaGeulah, the perfection of the Geulah. That the idea of the Geulah is revealing the perfection of every detail. Even though those things are only preparation for something else, like we mentioned earlier. Totally Gufa is dependent on this itself. To be saying who can while being here. In the avoid of a person, in his complete and perfection of his thought, speech, and deed of making this into Eretz Yisrael. Skip the parentheses. In this itself is dependent the perfection, completion of the Geulah. In other words, I need to be fully immersed in what I'm doing now, and that's going to bring a full and complete Geulah. Davka avoida b'shleimus kan, only through the avoida doing perfectly here. Skip the parentheses. Margila as Adam, it accustoms the person who may via oisai, and it brings him l'shleimus ha'avoida b'Eretz Yisrael, to the complete avoida Eretz Yisrael b'Geulah mitzvah shlema, in the true and complete redemption. Val Pisa muvenes ha'ira, from here is understood the directive of Seikan Eretz Yisrael. This is what it's we asked at the beginning of the Sikha, what is its directive right now? Though we find ourselves in exile, and the moment following this comes the redemption, and we're going to Eretz Yisrael. The avodah in this moment, in this place over here, has to be in the as perfect as it could be, as complete as it could be, according to the present state and the present location. The avodah has to express itself in making here a land of Judaism, to embed over here in this place, in this time, Eretz Yisroel, Shleimus Matzav Geulah, the ultimate state of the Geulah, al derech pnimi, similar to pnimi, shemachnis b'chol prat b'avodosai, that immerses in every detail in his avodah gam binyan shemrak hachonol dvar macherim, only even things that are only a preparation for other things. He immerses himself and brings it to perfection. Gimel, the third thing is this itself accustoms the person for the redemption. Till this brings the ultimate and complete redemption. When all the Yidden will return to Eretz Yisroel in the literal sense. And the future Eretz Yisroel is going to expand in all lands. Aidei avoided Aseka Eretz Yisroel, Akshav, through the avoid of making Eretz Yisroel now over here. Let's skip over another section. Skip over further. Oishit Bays, page 61. Yud Bays, it says, Kivin Shagula, second column, middle of the column. Kivin Shagula Dain Loiba, since the Geulah did not arrive yet. Regas in this moment, by divine providence, we still find ourselves here. The Mokim is Manzeh, in this place, this time. Surely we need to use this to fulfill the lesson, make here in Eretz Yisroel, like we said before. Concerning actuality. Since this is a directive that my father-in-law made well known, skip the parentheses. Movement, this is a lesson and directive for all the members of our generation that are connected, all of them, with the leader of the generation. And the leader, he is everything. This is especially so. When we find ourselves. We're reading all about, we said, Pinchas, and later on, Matas Maseh, we talk about it, about the divisions and about the inheritance of the land. Since we're in a time in the years when everything's prepared for the meal, we're at the threshold of the redemption. Chalukas Eretz Yisroel v'Pashtus, and the division of Eretz Yisroel in the literal sense, which is coming any moment with coming of Mashiach. So kol echad lahoyse v'yoyse b'avodasei da'asei kan Eretz Yisroel. Every single person has to add even more so in the avodah of making this place Eretz Yisroel. Kol echad v'achas. Every single man and woman, anoshim b'taf, men, women, children, b'mekoyme matzavehu, in their place, in their situation. The last place, but that's Hashem is to do it in the ultimate perfection, in his thought, speech, and action. And through that, to accustom himself to be in the ultimate state of the ultimate perfection of the state of the Geulah. The Rebbe says that every Yid has a part in this avodah, and every Yid needs to transform his avodah in whatever way possible. So the Rebbe at the bottom of the page says, we're scrolling down to the bottom of the first column, the question could be asked, since my avodah is only a small corner of the world, and it's only a detail of a detail, why does it make such a big difference how I will act concerning my immersion and my preparation, like we said before? He doesn't think, according to his view, that this has any influence on the entire world. So the Rebbe says, if you say to Mizushoyl, top of the second column, even more so he asks, how do we demand from him that he should bring the Geulah, a general Geulah to the entire world? At the very time that his avodah is only a small portion of the world in place and in time. Concerning this, we say, tell every Yid, you have a directive from the leader of our generation. I say, Khan Eretz Yisroel, make this place into Eretz Yisroel. Your avodah does not express itself in thinking what's doing in the other end of the world in a different time. But totally devote yourself in thought, speech, and deed in making here Eretz Yisroel in your individual place in every moment of your personal time or your individual time. Only through this will you affect the entire world in every place and every time. Since in your part of the world is included all parts of the world as well. The Rebbe gives an example from the different parts in Eretz Yisroel that they also had connection with every other part. Let's skip over to the second column. Valpiza movement according to understood. Gam Shalchol Yehudi Yeshna Achrayis Lahavis Agula. Every Yid has the responsibility to bring the redemption L'chol Olam Kuli to the entire world. Kim Shaydeza Shais Avidose Aprotis B'Shleimus Machshava Dibra Ma'aser, through doing his avodah, his individual avodah, perfectly in thought, speech, and deed. I feel b'prat, even in a detail of a detail, b'rega echad b'makom echad, in one moment and in one place. Kan yesh b'koychay lahafkay l'Eretz Yisroel. He has his capability to transform it to Eretz Yisroel by dazel l'foil l'havitz agula shleim chalolim, through that effect, and bring the Geulah, the complete Geulah in the entire world. Ba'osis pshutis, in simple words. Standing very close before the redemption. Every Yid has to accustom themselves to the Geulah. And to establish himself in a state and a feeling of redemption, through transforming his individual day to his own personal Geulah day. In transforming his individual place, Eretz Yisroel, through making this his avoid in this moment, this place, in the ultimate way, in thought, speech, and deed. And as a result of his individual avodah being complete in thought, speech, and deed, this also has to express himself in his speech. Similar to what we said at the lottery spoke, since he's permeated in an internal fashion with the lesson, the directive of making this place into Eretz Yisroel, with an inner vitality and passion. So he speaks about this with passion to others. And he makes well the lesson about making here Eretz Yisroel by his family, by those that are close to him. And how much more so by his students. Until he speaks about this with whoever he can have contact with. Since it comes from his inner being. He speaks words that come out of the heart, that enter the heart, and they affect their effect. And how much more so. Through showing a living example, Ma'avodas Atzmei, from his own service at Shepoyel, that he till he affects Shagama Shoimim Nas Medabrim. Even those that hear, they themselves are the ones that are speaking. Hagoyrel Hoya Medabrim. But when Negel Lepoil, the Rebbe says, in actuality, he was saying this on a Shabbos Farbrengen. Miyad b'matzah Shabbos, Mashiach le'avach Hashem lifnei. Immediately on Matzah Shabbos, Mashiach doesn't come prior to Matzah Shabbos. Chas Hashem. Yidagul lefarsim chol makom shubayif namutar lacher Shabbos. They should be concerned. They should put in an effort to make it well known in every place in the permitted way. After Shabbos, Sayra, the lesson, Aseikan Eretz Yisroel, make here Eretz Yisroel, Olahamshach v'pirsum Hayra, and to continue with making well known the lesson b'yom shalachar is and the following days, Ashiyavim Mashiach Tzidkenu till Mashiach Tzidkenu will come. Lahamshach b'Eretz Yisroel k'pshuta, and then to continue in Eretz Yisroel in the literal sense. Nice in addition to the fact that Eretz Yisroel will expand in all the lands. Let's skip over to the next column. The second column, Yiratzon be the will of Hashem. Even before the beginning of the 3 weeks and the 9 days and so on, Tavik Baragula, the redemption rate come. Simple might and Tovim should be fulfilled the promise that these days will be transformed to joy, rejoicing and happiness and Yom Tovim by days of Shemnei Yisrael, through the Yidden doing the avodah of making here to Yisrael in a perfect manner, to accustom oneself to the redemption. Will enter immediately out of a dancing into the redemption. Will go all together with a dance to Eretz Yisrael. We will take a portion in the division of Eretz Yisrael in the future, where it's going to be divided to 13 tribes, also Shevet Levi, not just like it was before, there was only the 12 tribes. Hashem himself will divide Eretz Yisrael for us. The Medrash says that the Eibishter himself is the one that will divide all of it for everybody. The canal, then the future Eretz Yisrael will expand in all the lands.
Schneller, Amen.